Internet, has Share My Story gone too far? That is an interesting question. So, Share My Story is one of my favorite reoccurring channels, with videos such as My Hot Babysitter Became My Girlfriend, or I Poked Holes into My BF's Condom, or perhaps the best, Addicted to Cockroaches. Now, this channel has almost 2 million subscribers, it banks millions and millions of views a video, and they make fat stacks. Now, I went and I tried to figure out where this channel comes from, and it turns out that there's tons of these channels, tons that make tons of views, millions of views. From where? I don't know. I assume that it's kids. But the fact that YouTube kind of gets away with allowing this stuff is amazing, considering that every time I say the frick word, I lose money. So what's interesting here, right, is that when I went looking, I didn't find anything about Share My Story, but I did find a website called StoryBooth. What's even more interesting about this, right, is that StoryBooth is ran by a company, like a full company, right? It's ran by a company called Created Entertainment LLC. On this website, you can basically do all the work for them. And how they get the stories is that you have something happen to you, you record it in their studio, and they essentially turn it into a video that they profit off of. And by the way, also, if you wanted to buy merch from them, they have a site that just, like, I'm actually surprised that they like, you can buy merch from them. That's so strange. Who is this Created Entertainment? Where are these people coming from? Where are all these storytime animation gross people coming from? And don't worry, we're gonna look at some weird stuff in a bit, but I think this is interesting and I think we should know about it. Now, what happens with a lot of channels like these, right, is that they're ran by companies because there's such a profit to be made here. So, you know, like T-Spill, right? So it's either that channel or some other contemporary that is ran by like a company, right? Which means they have like people in a studio that sit down and do this and is a writing person, and they just like it's a process, you know? It's not a YouTuber, it's a process. And we're starting to notice more and more of these channels pop up and things like this pop up because there's so much money to be made. And what's interesting about this is channels like this, like StoryBooth, they get verified on Instagram and Twitter, but YouTubers don't. So for example, StoryBooth, they're verified on Instagram. Why? Now, so Created Entertainment LLC is based in Greenwich, Connecticut, which, you know, nothing happens in Connecticut, so of course it's in Connecticut. But apparently it's a single person business. And what's amazing about stuff that's based in the US is that if you have an LLC, I can find out everything about you. So like, I can basically learn whatever I want. And so what's interesting about this is that it's categorized as an entertainment service, and it has one person. So that means that one person has been animating all these. Now, what they use to animate it, I assume it's like Go Animate or something that kind of streamlines the process, makes it very easy, right? But on top of that, I also don't believe that they only have one person employed. They also say their annual revenue is $28,000, which there's no way. I think this channel makes more, just as the other channel makes a lot of money too. I really do think they make a lot. And you're probably wondering why do I think StoryBooth makes so much money, and why do I think they have more than one employee? Well, they have 4.5 million subscribers. Yes, this channel is bigger than Share My Story, and they do the same exact thing. So apparently they're only employed with one person, right? I don't know who this guy is, right? His name's Joshua. Now, I, in my spare time, will contact Joshua for a follow-up on this, because I find these channels very interesting. But I wanted to kind of break open this kind of weird, like, we seem to think that they're all based in, like, some backwater country or something, but they're not. And they're here, which makes you think, well, what's the purpose of selling, like, all this ridiculous fake crap onto YouTube? Well, obviously it's to make money, but what StoryBooth is doing here is clearly working. I mean, 4.5 million, and they upload, like, once a week, and it's not like these animations are good either. You know, we got people like, apparently Lilly Singh has collaborated with them, which is just Lilly Singh. But it really makes you wonder where all these things are coming from. I can't find anything on Share My Story. I'm gonna keep looking, but I think it's important that we recognize that these are actually coming from probably much bigger organizations. I consider this a little bit of a Diesel special on the ground report, because I don't know where to go forward with this, and so I'm gonna need the internet's help. Anyway, with that being said, let's check out some of the most popular StoryBooth videos today, and just see how they stack up against everybody's favorite Share My Story. Ooh, I sent pictures to a boy I liked, and I shouldn't have. Sounds like it's gonna be a fun time.
I liked this one guy. We were super close. We started talking like late at night and stuff.
Oh, this is actually recorded from a person, not a voice actor. That's a person.
And he would ask me how my day was and what I did. He would ask me how I'm feeling and stuff like that. He'd be super nice.
Man, this guy's a 10 out of 10. He's like, how was your day? You were like, good. You're like, man, he cares so much about me. Man, to be in high school again.
Day he asked me for nudes and I said no.
Man, you know, none of this kind of stuff ever happened to me in high school. Probably because I was like really overweight. And okay, I want you to picture FPS Diesel, but me wearing flannel and like cargo black shorts and these gigantic pair of orange DC shoes. Let's throw a fedora in there. Yeah, I would dress like this. I'd dress like this. Don't worry, I understand. I would beat me up too.
So I had to send him some pictures. And
I hear about stories all the time now from my brother who's in high school. I'll tell you this right now. TikTok changed up the game. People do not know how to behave anymore.
he liked them. He was like, ooh, sexy, hot, and stuff.
Man, this young man knows how to play the field. Oof. When a guy's like, ooh, sexy, I'm just like, thank you. I know my booty's on fleek.
The phone with my friend. She was like, what are you gonna do? And he sent me a picture. And she was like, wait, no, he didn't. And I said, yeah. And I showed my friend and I was like, I don't know what to do.
This isn't gonna end well for this horny teenager. Why are they uploading this stuff to their channel? This is not appropriate. I don't think they should be telling these stories. Is that just me? Do I think that, like, this is, I understand, like, oh, so this way you know you're not alone. But then on the other hand, it's like, yeah, but should we really be using these kids' like stories that embarrass them as a way to profit off them? Like, there's something weird about just taking the recordings. Like, I much prefer the voice actors, because at least that way there's like a degree of separation. But now you're just kind of exploiting a kid.
Fine. So I sent him a picture of me in my bra. And then he was like, take the bra off. So I did, and I put my hands over my boobs. And he said, send it without your hands. And I put emojis. And then he was like, take the emojis off. And I was like, fine.
If you don't want to send nudes to someone, don't. Nobody can force you to. FPS Diesel's tip of the day. Do what feels comfortable to you. You must consent. Don't let some high school boy, right, who still picks his nose in his spare time and scratches his ass and sniffs it, make decisions about your body for you, okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not spending your life with him, all right? He's not worth it.
And we had to talk about it with my therapist. She was like, did you send him it back? And I was like, no, because I kept lying, because I was like, I don't want to. But
the mom's like, I can't even have a conversation about this. I just need to bring you in. I can't do it.
And my mom threatened to take it up with the school district and like tell on him and say, this is child pornography. You better look up his picture and say like, oh, he did send it and like he should get punished for it.
Like, these are both like young teens. And we're just like, no. The kid, that guy, he needs to go to jail. For saying there needs to be legal repercussions and that it's child porn, like, that's such a double standard. Like, we can't just throw some other person into, like, this way of, like, oh, you're now a pedophile because you exchanged nudes with someone when you were 16 and they were 16. Like, just don't send nudes if you're underage, but, like, just to try and screw over this kid is, why are we trying to put him in jail? That's too much.
Mom, you can't do that. And she was like, why did you send it back? And I was like, if I did, would you be mad? And she said no. And I started crying and I poured down tears. And I told her the truth that I did. And she just hugged me. And she said, look, it's going to be all right, but you know you can't do that again. And I got grounded for a long time.
Oh man, I hate this a lot more than share my story. I'd much prefer that. This really feels like they're exploiting somebody's embarrassing high school moment. But also, this person is probably still in high school when they're recording this. So yeah, I do think this is a bit exploitative. I really do. And then on top of that, let me just tell you right now, if this is something that happened to you or is happening to you and you're in high school right now, you know, like, one, just don't do it. Don't send nudes. Just don't do it. It's not worth the hassle, especially in high school, you know. And then on top of that, you're gonna grow up and you're just gonna laugh about this. You know, a lot of the stupid things I did in high school, sometimes I laugh about them on this channel. For example, I met this girl at an internship in high school, and then she invited me to a meth lab. That's not a joke. That's something that happened. And then her friend offered me $100 to hold down somebody else when they were gonna get stabbed. The backcountry, man, it's crazy. If I told you that whole story, you guys wouldn't believe me. It's one of my favorite stories.
And I never did anything like that again, because the feeling of thinking that someone might find out and ruin your life sucks.
Okay, why has apparently Lilly Singh operated with this channel? Because this really does seem a lot creepier. I don't like this kind of way of doing it. I think it's very odd to use these kids, basically, profit off of. I don't like this. I don't know, I'm looking at this and it's just, I don't know how I feel. I got a lot of conflicted emotions about this. Alright, we'll look at one more. This one's about 2 minutes 47 seconds long, but it has 20 million views. Apparently they do really well on Facebook and Instagram, which this is definitely the content that's gonna just absolutely bang on Instagram. But yeah, this one's called An Older Boy Took Advantage of Me.
I remember I was at my step-aunt's house from my little sister's father's side of the family, and I was watching TV with my step-cousins.
Nope, I don't like this. I don't like this. These are real people. I much prefer the silliness of Share My Story. This has gone from not, I can't believe this is a real business. I could just go and visit where this office is. Like, it's really, I could do that.
2 young girls and the eldest boy. Time passes and the 2 girls have left, and I'm left alone with the eldest boy.
See, now this sounds like a kid, but it also sounds like she's reading off a script. This has gone from like, haha, I'm gonna make fun of things, to like, this is like, there's a lot going on here that I don't think we see. I gotta find out what's going on.
He reaches over and puts his arm around me, telling me how I'm beautiful and things like that. Keep in mind that I was 9 and he was probably in high school. I was so uncomfortable, but I just sat there and said, thanks, I guess. After a few more compliments and some small talk, he leans in and he kisses me.
Lilly Singh, you better not be working with this channel. I have so many grievances with this. Okay, anyway guys, this is StoryBooth, and I clearly got my word cut out for me. Let's go dive deep and find out who these guys are. If anybody happens to know if these stories are real, please reach out to me. I have an email. You can send me an email, and obviously I keep things confidential, but you do have to be able to provide evidence. Now, in the meantime, I am going to just go back to Share My Story because they're so much better than this. Oh, by the way, just so everybody knows, by the time we get into the new year, I'm going to be releasing a Ko-Fi. That's kind of like Patreon, except they don't take a cut of the money that I make, which is great. Clearly, YouTube's been in a position where it's kind of hard for me to make income because I swear or cover things that sometimes are risque, and I want to be able to do that. So when the Ko-Fi launches, it hasn't officially launched yet, there will be things that you get when you support me monthly over there, and there'll be things you get when you support me once over there. Now, what those things are, they'll basically be extended, I'm calling them extended expeditions. They'll be short form podcasts that are kind of like part recap, part deeper dive into the fandom videos and web culture videos that I do. Kind of like a debriefing post video. So if you're interested in that, that'll be the first reward that comes up when you support that. And it's like $3 to support, the price of a coffee. So it's cheap, it helps me out, and if you can't do it long form, it's just gonna be, a one-time thing. Just want to tell everybody that I was doing that, because a lot of people were asking, like, what am I gonna do after I uploaded that video about YouTube? Anyway, with that being said, guys, I'm gonna go figure this out because this is interesting, but I'll keep you posted.
Still remain